I hinted at the next countdown that I'm going to do, and I said it was going to be pretty weird. It's the top 5 most WTF movies I've ever seen. As advertised, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the top 5 most WTF movies I've ever seen. I'm so excited about this. You have no idea what you're in for. I'm going to just warn you right now. And normally in videos like this, I like to waterboard my audience with preamble and context. Well, I'm not doing that this time. This time, we're just jumping right into the deep end of the pool. Sink or swim, bitch! We're starting with Begotten. If you know, you know. And you're probably thinking, wow, he's starting with this one?
I'm in danger!
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know,
I apologize for the trauma that you are about to endure.
Begotten is an experimental horror film that came out in 1989 and was directed by E. Elias Merhaj. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it is by far the most disturbing thing I have ever seen. This 72-minute long film is shot completely in black and white and has no dialogue whatsoever. And has enough disturbing imagery throughout that would even make Jeffrey Dahmer go, that's a bit much. I dare you, anyone watching this video, to watch this movie at home by yourself in the middle of the night with all of your lights turned off. I dare you. Because I sure as hell can't. Legit, this movie is so weird and strange in the artsy-fartsy kind of way that I'm surprised it doesn't have a 110% score on Rotten Tomatoes. So what is the plot of Begotten, you may ask? Well, it starts with this thing. It's called God killing himself. Yep, that's his name. God killing himself. So he pulls out a straight razor and disembowels himself. We're off to a good start. And no, I can't show it on YouTube. Which, that is going to be a theme throughout this entire video. Yeah, I can't show it on YouTube. But I'm going to talk about it. Because what the f***? So after God killing himself kills himself, a woman called Mother Earth emerges from his dead body. Stay with me. And then she proceeds to jerk off his corpse and uses his jizz to inseminate herself.
Hell no!
Whew, boy. I warned you. This is the movie I'm starting off with, by the way. But wait, there's more! She gets pregnant and gives birth to a fully grown man called Son of Earth who does nothing but convulse and sees what the f*** is happening. And then these hooded nomad people kidnap Son of Earth and drag him by his massive umbilical cord until he vomits out his organs for some reason, and then they burn him alive. This is so f***ed up that even the FBI that watches my every move has been traumatized. So then Mother Earth resurrects Son of Earth without the Dragon Balls because she's a real one, which then leads to the nomads coming back and, No. They...
Wait.
R-word her.
Wait.
And kill her. Great. Lovely. I'm gonna vomit. They also kill Son of Earth again and place the mother and son duo's organs in jars and bury them, and flowers grow from there, and I am not okay. I don't think I have ever been less okay. Please send help. Well, that was lovely. I don't know what to say. I, of all people, am not very often just completely befuddled and at a loss for words, but that happened. This film is an extremely surreal and graphically symbolic piece portraying the circle of life and death, religion, the brutality of humankind, God's sacrifice for our sake, and other more ambiguous themes. As a film, I mean, obviously the production value is horrific, and there isn't really much acting to speak of, and its pace is excruciatingly slow, but I do believe that all of this is intentional in order to make for the most uncomfortable and unpleasant viewing experience possible. In that regard, I think this film succeeds quite easily. It is not an easy watch and doesn't have much as far as replay value is concerned, and I would not recommend this to most people, especially people who just ate, are currently eating, or about to. This movie will treat your appetite like a demon and exercise the shit out of you. But wait, there's more.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
The film has two sequels. 2006's Den of Celestial Birds, which is 14 minutes long, and 2022's Polia and Blastema, a Cosmic Opera, which is about 40 minutes long. So yeah, this is a trilogy now. Do with that information what you will. But before I move on from Begotten and go to the number 2 movie on this countdown, there's one more thing I want to discuss that I find to be quite interesting. As you all know, I'm a huge fan of Marilyn Manson, and right now I want to discuss this film's relationship with Marilyn Manson's second album, and probably his most famous album, Antichrist Superstar. This movie actually had a lot of influence on this album. Marilyn Manson is famously a huge fan of the film Begotten, so much so that he actually reached out to the director of the film, Elias Merhej, again if I'm even pronouncing that correctly, and actually got him to direct 2 of the music videos for the Antichrist Superstar album. These 2 songs are Crypt Orchid and the title track of the album, both of which incorporate footage from the movie into the videos, and in my opinion, are 2 of the creepiest and most disturbing music videos I've ever watched. Especially Crypt Orchid, which is just pure nightmare fuel. Plus, Manson had the artist who drew the iconic artwork for the album study the film, wanting the tone and vibe of Antichrist Superstar to match Begotten. And during the entire recording of the album, Manson had Begotten playing in the background on a loop just to get the band in the mood. It's just so cool to me that the most insane and terrifying album I've ever listened to shares such a connection to the most disturbing movie I've ever seen. As I previously stated, Begotten is one of the most grotesque and disturbing things I've ever seen, and it's definitely in the more artsy, weird, what the hell am I actually watching section of what I would consider to be WTF movies, or movies that evoke that phrase from you like every 10 seconds. So yeah, that's the number 1 movie in this countdown. And now we're going to move on to number 2, something that's less disturbing and more just odd and very much a staple of the time period. We're moving on to the number 2 movie, Surf Ninjas. It's so 90s it hurts. Surf Ninjas. The film is a family adventure comedy that came out in 1993, and unlike Begotten, actually has more of a conventional plot. People speak in this movie. Although I wish some of them didn't, but we'll get to that.
Look at you. You who were once so proud. Go now and never return.
And of the films that I'm going to be discussing in this countdown, Surf Ninjas is the only one that I actually have a physical copy of. I actually have it on VHS. And now all the Zoomers watching are like, what's that? That's not a DVD. Or a streaming service. This isn't Netflix. What is that? I hate you. I first saw this film when I was little, and it's one of my guilty pleasure movies like the Fred movie. It's not good, it's actually quite stupid, but I enjoy it for what it is. It's a campy romp that never takes itself seriously, and that's just groovy to me, dog. God, this script sucks. Everything about this movie is just pure, raw, unrestrained 1990s energy. The dialogue, the sets, the outfits, the score, all the way down to the camera work, editing, and even what passed for comedians back then.
Wax. And I have a lot of wax.
I mean, for God's sakes, there is a scene where the main protagonist, Johnny, the most generic protag name ever, by the way.
I love you, Dad.
I love you too.
Psych.
Is supposed to be doing some kind of welcoming speech at his school for this guru guy named Babaram. He of course has nothing prepared, but has an idea when he walks past his school's choir boys, I guess. He has them sing the Beach Boys' Barbara Ann, but saying Babaram instead of Barbara Ann over and over. The 90s are so fucking weird. And at the end of the movie, they have a musical number where they all sing this song and Babaram is there and they're all just vibing to it. Why are the 90s so weird? So basically the plot is that Johnny and Adam are two average, totally rad surfer dudes, bro, who find out that they are descendants of royalty from an island called Patusan. Their guardian/uncle named Zach, yes, his name is Zach, saves them from enemy forces and blows up their house to kill their attackers.
Our pal Long John Silver here left the gas on. Real bright. I mean, what if the house blows? Oh!
That was our home. He blew up our home.
I had no choice. Now you have no choice but to come with me.
Yep, that happens. Zach is basically the exposition machine of the movie, as he literally explains everything throughout the entire runtime, but he has several kick-ass and over-the-top silly action sequences, so I can't complain too much. So he's trying to get them to Patusan so they can rule it, even though they're teenagers, and trying to keep them safe at the same time from the big bad of the movie, Colonel Chi, who wants to stop them. Because big bad evil bad guy is evil bad guy evil bad guy evil. He's also a robot. What?
It almost got wet. Come here.
I don't even know if that's PG.
They are joined by a detective who's bored with his life, and this girl named Rome, whose parents have arranged for her to marry Johnny without his prior knowledge, but Johnny's boner causes him to not question it, even though Rome does question it later on, much to the dismay of Johnny's little Johnny. Family movie, Joshua. Gotta remember this is a family movie. So they train briefly, and I mean briefly. Literally, Johnny goes from being controlled by his brother's Game Gear system, stay with me, to touching a sword and magically obtaining master-level martial arts skills. None of this is earned, it just happens, because this is Surf Ninjas, and you're not allowed to use your brain. So he starts an uprising on Patusan, and they fight Colonel Chi and his army, when this shit happens. And then Johnny becomes king and immediately dissolves Patusan's government.
You what?
Not joking. The movie ends with him giving the people complete power, but this is a family movie, so we're not allowed to talk about anarchy or any of the horrific implications therein. Dude, there should be a sequel to Surf Ninjas where they have to save a burning Patusan from the anarchy they have allowed, and Johnny is replaced as king, and a monarchy is reinstated, because there has to be some kind of law and order. I'd watch the shit out of that movie. That sounds awesome. But let's rewind to the Game Gear thing. Yeah, this movie is basically a big commercial for Sega's Game Gear system. As if you couldn't already feel the 90s just wafting through the screen and directly into your bloodstream enough. Adam is apparently a psychic fortune teller seer guy, but he can only see or predict things through his Game Gear system. This is a crucial plot point to the movie. And yes, it is every bit as stupid as it sounds. I love it. And another part of this movie that I just adore is this absolutely stupid running gag of Colonel Chi never being able to answer the phone in time. I don't know why, but this just always cracks me up.
Now, what if you leave your name and number and the time you call, they get right back to you. And don't hang up. Hello? Hello?
Now, as much as I love this movie, it's one of my guilty pleasure movies. It always brings a smile to my face. There's one part that I don't really like all that much, and I have alluded to it a couple times, but what is the 90s deal with Rob Schneider? Rob Schneider's character, Iggy...
Iggy, too biggie to be his president.
No, not that one. This one Iggy is the worst part of the movie. Nothing he does or says is ever funny, and the only sound effect he ever elicits from me is a loud groan of agitation.
I just want you to know, I felt really safe in your arms. And I've never said it to a man before.
He is just every negative stereotype of how corny and lame the 90s were. And for some reason, he was everywhere in the 90s. I swear to God, it must have been illegal in the 1990s to make a comedy without having Rob Schneider in it. And I don't hate the guy, but he's the same character in every movie he's in. An awkward dipshit who annoys every other character on screen and every audience member that's trying to watch the film. That's all he does. And what makes it even worse in this movie is he doesn't affect the plot at all. If you took Iggy out of the movie, nothing would change other than the overall quality of the movie increasing. Literally the only thing he does in this movie that I like is when Zach literally shoves his ass down a ravine.
They just don't weigh the risks, do they? Say, you want to grab a cup of coffee?
But overall, I really do enjoy this movie. Of all the WTF movies that I've seen, this is the most enjoyable one. It is funny. It's not particularly great. It's very, very, very campy and goofy and corny and impossible to take serious. But it knows that, and if you have a thing for 90s humor and 90s action and stuff like that, then this is the movie for you. And if you don't know what a VHS is, please unsubscribe from my channel because you sicken me. But now, we're moving on to the next movie in our countdown, and we're entering the more, part of the WTF list. Movie number 3, Rubber. And no, it's not what you're thinking. Get your mind out of the gutter! Rubber came out in 2010, and it is about a tire that is possessed by a ghost and goes around making people's heads explode with its psychic powers. Today's just one of those days, isn't it? Where nothing makes sense. Nothing's allowed to make sense. Just things outright refuse to make sense. Just the concept of making sense. Just throwing it out the window. I'm sorry, I have to. I hope you're not tired of this weirdness yet. Of the 5 movies on this list, this one by far has the wackiest concept. Much of the movie, and I'm not joking, you just watch a sentient tire roll around at the speed of sound and blow shit up. Like beer bottles. Rabbits. Birds. And people. All kinds of people. Even the handicapped are not safe. As you can see, he found the accusations of him being ableist to be quite tiresome. Okay, I'll stop with the tire puns. I get that they can be quite tiring. Oh! But yeah, he just rolls around until he comes across this woman who totally isn't Zooey Deschanel and just follows her while murdering people the whole time. Okay, you do you, buddy. But to make things even weirder and more random, I guess, the whole time this is going on, there's a random group of people who are just watching everything unfold through binoculars. They are the audience, and they're watching the tire as if it's a movie. Is this where the idea of VR came from? So yeah, this film is super meta and constantly breaks the fourth wall. Even the opening scene where this guy runs over a bunch of chairs? Weird flex, but okay. This dude goes on an entire monologue talking about how the theme of this movie and life in general is how sometimes things just happen for no reason. Why the f*** is there a sentient tire with psychic powers? No reason. Cool. Thanks. I'm glad I understand why the f*** all of this is happening. Speaking of the audience, they go several days without eating. So the person who is orchestrating all of this insanity has this creepy butler dude serve them turkey. The audience goes absolutely feral and devours it, except for this dude. Unfortunately for them, the turkey is poisoned, so the whole audience dies, except for this dude. The butler returns with more food to try to poison him, but the guy refuses because he wants to enjoy the movie. So the butler dude eats the food himself and dies because no reason, I guess. Sure, valid. Oh, and these police officers are all in on this conspiracy, and there's this weird fourth wall breaking exchange where this dude is like, all of this is fake, and has one of the officers shoot him twice to prove it. He is shot and is bleeding everywhere, but completely no-sells it and is just fine. Is this wrestling or something? I mean, it's like when Triple H gave the Ultimate Warrior the pedigree and Warrior just popped right back up and no-sold it. What the f*** is this movie? So yeah, they go and hunt down the possessed tire and try to trick it into killing not Zoe.
I have been a very naughty girl. I need a good thrashing.
And the wheelchair dude with no name interrupts because he thinks this whole plan is a giant plot hole, because f*** the fourth wall for existing. The tire takes the bait, but the explosives they rigged this mannequin with don't work. So the cop goes in and just shoots the tire with a shotgun. Wheelchair man complains about how anticlimactic this is. And then the ghost possesses a tricycle, murders wheelchair dude, and gathers an army of tires and invades Hollywood. I'm not joking. This happens. This is how the movie ends. And my God, I do not understand a single frame of this utter nonsense. I swear to God I'm not dumb, but a lot of this just mystifies me. It's... all of that happens, and I vaguely kind of get what they're trying to do, but... okay, I'm going to run through some reasons as to why all the 5 movies that I'm talking about in this list, this is my least favorite of the 5, because it's just confusing for the sake of being confusing, and it hides behind the whole bullshit no reason thing just to cover up just being absolute nonsense. So, yeah. I'm so confused. This movie feels like there are 2 completely different movies competing for screen time. One is a goofy and surreal slasher about a possessed psychic tire, and the other is this weird, nothing is real and nothing matters, pseudo-intellectual fourth wall demolishing tidal wave of ridiculousness. And I'm sorry, but it just doesn't work for me. It's just weird and annoying and jarring. I honestly wish that this was just a weird slasher about a possessed tire, and everything about the audience and the butler and all of the no reason fourth wall breaking nonsense was just removed from the film. Seriously, I thought the tire stuff was interesting, as goofy as it was. But every time they cut to the audience, I immediately lost interest because none of these people are characters and none of them are interesting. This, in my opinion, is the bad kind of artsy-fartsy. Like, Begotten is super artsy-fartsy. But it didn't feel like the director and writer were behind the camera jerking off to how smart they are. Begotten had a mission and a message, as bizarre and weird as it was. This is just stupid. And all I can hear every time the whole no reason fourth wall breaking crap was going on was, "This movie is so smart! Oh my God, we are intellectually superior to all you plebeians, yes!" It's very annoying and takes away from the whole experience in a significant way. On the other hand, though, it adds to the WTF factor and makes it feel 100 times as random and weird. But seriously, I just wish this movie was about a haunted tire going on a wacky killing spree with no pseudo-intellectual masturbatory bullshit that completely bogs down the movie and just makes a complete nonsense. So that was Rubber. It's not anywhere near as smart as it thinks it is, which is kind of infuriating while you're watching it, but it's definitely weird and very, very wacky. Just the concept is so just, huh? What? Sorry, can you run that by me one more time? What? But it's the one I enjoy the least out of the 5 because it just feels like, oh, I'm so smart, yes! And it's very irritating in that regard, but it's definitely one of the strangest movies I've ever seen, I'm not gonna lie, and that's why it's on this list. But now, moving on, these next 2 movies are parodies, and I'm gonna start with the one that left me with the most mental scars. I don't even know how to bring up this movie at all. Just Chicken Park. Okay, we're doing it. We're jumping right into Chicken Park. Oh God, I can't believe I'm jumping into Chicken Park. Oh my God, you have no idea what you're in for. You think you've seen it all. You have still seen nothing. Before I dive into Chicken Park, I want to give a shout out to one of my favorite YouTubers, Darkness the Curse. I first heard of this movie through him, as he has an entire review of this film on his YouTube channel. Go subscribe to him, or else I'll strap you to a chair and force you to watch all 5 of these movies back to back. So yeah, Chicken Park. This is an Italian parody of Jurassic Park that came out in 1994, and it is certainly something. And ooh, a warning at the beginning about lots of sensuality? This might not be so bad after all.
What you wanna hear? All the funk in the house? Chicken Park, Chicken Park. What you wanna hear? All the funk in the house? The funky Chicken Park. Come on,
I was horribly mistaken. I don't even know where to begin with this, or how to begin. This movie broke me. So basically there's this dude, Vladimiro, played by Jerry Kalla, who is also the director of the movie, and his chicken named Joe, and... Okay, let me stop right here. This chicken crows like a rooster multiple times during the film.
Joe!
Chickens don't make this noise! This is not a rooster, Jerry Kalla, you dumb fuck! I probably shouldn't get mad yet, because there's still so much more to come, and that little detail is very minute in the grand scheme of things, and my head already hurts, so I need to allocate my strength accordingly. So I did come prepared for you know, the pain that I'm about to go through, so down the hatch. As I mentioned prior, this film is a parody of Jurassic Park, where instead of dinosaurs, we have giant chickens. Because of all of the decisions that could have been made, that was the one that was made. Okay? This movie also parodies several other films at the same time, which is a very odd choice and makes the movie feel very chaotic and all over the place. I've never seen a movie that goes so far out of its own way to distract itself from the plot. Like, every time we are reminded that there is in fact a plot, the movie is like, but that's boring! I'm gonna make fun of the Addams Family for like 5 minutes. And it just goes on, and eventually circles itself back around to the plot. And yes, the Addams Family is in this Jurassic Park parody for some reason. And there's also a Home Alone parody, because parody. It's like one of those epic movie or disaster movie parodies that make fun of a lot of movies in one big compilation, except this movie is on a worse budget and is even more hard to follow because there is a semblance, and I mean semblance, of a plot. Now, it being a parody, that of course brings into question whether or not the movie is actually funny. And, well, it made me laugh about 4 times. There are 4 gags in this movie that got me. Now, if we consider the fact that this movie is a little over an hour and a half long and it only managed to make me laugh 4 times, I'd say that's pretty bad. The rest of the movie's humor, if you can even call it that, is either incredibly bizarre or insanely tasteless. Sometimes both. In fact, one of the jokes that made me laugh is so tasteless and bizarre that it made me laugh because I genuinely could not believe that they went there. But yeah, this movie is very dated in its humor, even for 94's standards. So watching it in 2023 is even more mind-boggling. For example, the movie has tons of racist and sexist humor. Like the scene where it all of a sudden becomes a Platoon parody and they go off to Vietnam, I guess, and this happens.
Wow.
And I swear to God, just about every single woman in this film is so incredibly horny. At times, it comes off like a softcore porno. It's very cringeworthy and difficult to sit through at points. And the sex jokes often morph into fourth wall breaks that just further hurt your brain and make you question just what exactly you're doing with your life. Like this gag, where Vlad is searching for a woman to play the supporting female role. He eventually is presented with the supporting female character, Sigourney. Unfortunately, he doesn't like her because he thinks she is too ugly for the role.
Jesus!
Yup, movie went there. So then he has this woman who was watching this movie in a movie theater morph through the screen, and she becomes the supporting female character because she's hotter. That is not a joke. This happens, and we never see ugly Sigourney again, and hotter Sigourney is now Sigourney. And did I mention that she is super horny because sex? Sex, 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 sex. Oh my god, sex! This movie is so weird and just, oh my god. It's like a fever dream. This is the movie that reminded me the most of Exorcist II: The Heretic, the movie that I reviewed before this movie, and I described that movie as if I was experiencing a fever dream. This is like that. But I guess now I'll just try to explain the plot as concisely as I can, and after I explain this movie's plot, because it does have one, I guess after that I'll explain the 4 jokes that actually made me laugh, or I guess while I'm describing, I'll touch on the 4 jokes that made me laugh while I'm describing this movie's plot. Unless I die mid-recording because of an aneurysm. So we start with these guys who are goofing off while constructing Chicken Park.
And make chaka chaka until Ramon, my little pecker, he fly to paradise. Hey Ramon, you ready to go to work?
And then they all get shot and killed, and this happens.
Paradise lost. Hasta la vista, baby.
Okay, I never expected or wanted to see that in my life ever, but whatever, I guess. You know, I'm a teetotaler. And, after watching this movie, I am now reconsidering every life choice I've ever made. In fact, I might actually try and see if I can break the record for quickest transition from teetotaler to full-blown alcoholic. So we meet Vlad, who is taking his rooster chicken Joe to the Dominican Republic. Funny gag number 1.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the captain!
Okay. I know it's slapstick, but the timing of it just kills me. Leave me alone. So at the Dominican Republic, he comes across these guys who are playing Russian roulette with grenades. I don't know exactly why this is happening, but it's happening, and you're just gonna have to deal with it, I guess. So then we have joke number 2 that made me laugh so hard I nearly cried because I could not believe my fucking eyes. The back of the sign that the scorecard model has says, and I quote, "I am a virgin." She is then mobbed by an audience of horny dudes, and when they get off of her, her sign now reads, "I was a virgin." What the f***? Oh my god, I realize I'm a horrible person for laughing at that, but it's mostly just out of pure shock and horror. Oh my god, I cannot believe that actually oh, sweet baby Jesus. And for the duration of me talking about this movie, I'm going to film these parts from my bed, because this movie has officially made me unwell, and I want to sue Jerry Kala, if he's still alive, which I hope he isn't. I want to sue him for malpractice of my eyes, ears, and soul. I don't think I'll ever recover. Please help. And if that wasn't bad enough, we are then immediately treated to a real, actual, legitimate, unsimulated, actual cockfight between Joe and another chicken, And no, I cannot show this on YouTube because this is animal abuse. Holy shit, what the f*** were you people thinking? And we are only 15 minutes or so deep into this movie. I am not okay! After the cockfight and this woman eats a light bulb, Joe is stolen and Vlad chases after him. He then gets on the helicopter I mentioned earlier, and funny gag number 3 happens. Racial humor and sexist humor ensues, and we finally get to Chicken Park, and my God! These composite shots are so ass! My f***ing eyes! We meet the owner of Chicken Park, Mr. Eggs, who wants to create the ultimate chicken because why the f*** not? The whole hot or not Sigourney bit happens, and then we have a sex scene where instead of actually having a sex scene, he just uses her stomach to cook spaghetti because she's hot. I have no words. I have no words. Oh, and this is where the Addams Family nonsense pops up, except their names are different. For example, Morticia has been changed to necrophilia because humanity was a terrible, terrible, terrible mistake, and she watches Vlad and Sigourney have weird spaghetti sex, which arouses her to the point that she has the hand finger her while she watches snuff films. So Vlad and Sigourney are eventually like, F this stupid place, and they try to escape with Joe, which leads to Mr. Eggs losing his shit and releasing all of his giant chickens. Oh, also we have the 4th and funniest gag in the entire movie. These 2 sculptors have been busting their asses the whole movie trying to build this huge chicken skeleton thing, but it keeps getting knocked over. So after the 3rd or 4th time it gets ruined, they decide to hang themselves. God. This is so f***ed up. And again, I cannot believe that they actually filmed some of this shit. I mean, I guess some part of me commends the guts they had, but good lord, this is so bad. So, Joe gets eaten, and 2 giant chickens try to have sex with Vlad and Sigourney. Stay with me, we are almost at the finish line, I promise. So, they distract it with giant french fries and escape the island as the hand from earlier pushes a button and the island explodes. Vlad and Sigourney fly off and live happily ever after, and the movie mercifully, and I mean mercifully, comes to an end. Good God. I feel like I've been through something today. The things I do for you people, I swear to God. That was the thing that happened. That was one of the experiences of all time. Holy crap, this movie. Darkness. I blame you also for this. And the bills for my therapy sessions will be arriving in your mailbox shortly. So, also, for those of you that saw through this part and are also traumatized, you can also blame Darkness the Curse. And this movie is so bad. But it's so just what the actual hell is happening that it's a goldmine of the worst and weirdest kind. Oh my God, I can't believe some of the things that they got away with in this movie. It's never seen a release in the United States for abundantly clear and obvious reasons. So, there's that. This is the wildest, nuttiest, most, oh God, why movie I've ever seen. Just, I honestly might have been traumatized. But I will say, again, the movie is very distracted with what it thinks is funny, and it just makes the movie feel all over the place. And it's also just really boring at points, so this is definitely not something that is for everyone. This is just for those insane movie buffs out there like me and Darkness. So, that concludes Chicken Park, which is definitely the most WTF movie out of the 5. So now, mercifully, I'm going to transition to the final movie of this countdown, And unlike the other movies that I've listed, I'm not going to go super in-depth with this one. It's only a 20-minute movie, so it barely even counts as a movie. But it's another just cornucopia of I cannot believe this actually exists. And a friend of mine from college named Riza actually introduced me to this, so shout out to you, Riza. The Blair Thumb. So we go from Chicken Park, which is a parody of Jurassic Park with chickens, to The Blair Thumb, which is a parody of the Blair Witch Project, but with thumb people. I swear to God, if you are all not wondering about or very concerned about my sanity during this video, then I'm worried about your sanity, to be perfectly honest. But as I mentioned, I'm not going to go too in-depth with the Blair Thumb because A, it's only 20 minutes, and B, it's basically just the plot of Blair Witch Project, but with thumbs. So there really isn't much to dissect. Although I will say that my only huge complaint about this movie is that there is a lot, and I mean lot, of screaming.
Take the girl! Leave us alone! This is it! We're seriously totally dead!
It's very evocative of early YouTube, especially the annoying orange. In fact, this whole movie feels like it was made by the same people. It can be very grating and very annoying, and it is absolutely not everyone's cup of tea. But there are some parts that I like. Some of the dialogue actually had me laughing pretty hard.
Hours later, the men were found decapitated and very tired.
And this guy. This guy's name is Jish. Not Josh, Jish. And that just kills me. I swear to God, there is an alternate universe where my name is Jishua, but everyone still calls me Jish. Because I'm not allowed to have peace. So the whole thing is just like the Blair Witch Project, where these three thumbs are searching for the eponymous Blair Thumb while recording everything, and hijinks and shenanigans and marshmallows ensue.
Got it! Mallow, baby! Marsh, baby! Marshmallow! Mallow! 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 Mallow!
There's a part where the trio are attacked by a land shark, which I'm sure doesn't happen in the original Blair Witch Project, but I could be wrong. And the movie ends with them, Frankenthumb, and the upper half of Jish having a dance party. Don't ask. Funnily enough, the best part about the Blair Thumb is not even the movie itself. It's the rabbit hole that opened up that I went down a little bit because of this movie and my friend Riza, who also had no idea about this. So, the people that made the Blair Thumb, they have made several other thumb parodies. They've made The Thumb Father, which is, of course, a parody of The Godfather. Thumb Wars, which is a parody. They've made two Thumb Wars, which is a parody of Star Wars. They've made Bat Thumb, Thumbtanic, Frankenthumb. There are so many thumb parody movies that it is... I give it a thumbs up. So there you have it, the top 5 most WTF movies I've ever seen. I hope you have enjoyed this as much as I haven't. Pray for my sanity, and I will pray for yours, you know. Scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Like, comment, and subscribe, and all that fun stuff. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers, although I'm betting after this video I've lost half of them. Go check out Darkness the Curse. He's awesome. And thank you guys so much for watching and everything that you do. I wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for you guys, and I'll be sure to come up with something wacky and ridiculous and life choice questioning for you all. And now I'm going to go back to bed because I still feel unwell, especially after Chicken Park. So, bye. Till next time. Yay!